Hello and welcome to this training resource focused on our IT infrastructure. The resource will cover an introduction of how to log into your staff profiles, the programs we have available on Office 365, how to access IT support, how to release printing within the school premises, and also just some basic tips on online security. Firstly, we have your network login screen. So when you power up a computer, you'll see that this home page with the cave and the backdrop with the waves. From here, you'll need to put in your username and password. Key thing to remember though is that it is just your username, so joe.blogs, rather than a whole email address, which would be joe.blogs@summerpark.co.uk. When you log in, you'll then get your home page here. The bottom left of your screen, you'll see this Windows symbol, which is 4 little squares. If you click on that, it will then create or show the options of all of the programs that are loaded to your profile. These are alphabetical, so if you scroll down to I for Internet, that then expands other internet tools, and you need to click on the option where you've got Office 365 login. That will then take you to the home login screen to log into your Microsoft profile. When you logged into your Microsoft profile, you'll then access all of the features with Office 365. So this therefore requires you to put your full email address in, and then it will ask you to put your password in. Once logged in, this will then reveal the home page of Office 365, which will show you all of the different programs and their icons, which also double up as buttons. You'll also have at the bottom some recent documents. So this is a test profile, but documents, when you have your profile created and have accessed documents previously, will start to populate here for easy access. And all of these buttons, as it says here, are applications to get to specific programs. Last point to make here, top left, you've got 9 dots in the top left corner. This is a useful shortcut. It will then reveal all of the buttons again. So if you're on a different page other than the home page here, you can easily get to your emails or OneDrive or any programs that you need by simply clicking the 9 dotted buttons at the top there. So looking specifically more at your Outlook. So when you log into your email, or when you click on the email icon once logged into Office 365, your whole window will look like this. This is your inbox, your email. So first thing to identify is that you've got your inbox here, and also groups. So if you're part of a group, so an all staff teaching group or all staff for a particular school, those emails that are sent to that group will appear here. So that's worth checking, see for updates or any information that you're included in. Anything that's specifically sent to you will appear in your inbox here as well. And the last point there is your new message. That's where you'll begin to write an email to send to somebody else. So once you've clicked on new message, it will then create an open window where you'll start to write out the email that you want to send to somebody. The first thing here is the to. This is intuitive, so as you start to write a name, it will start to give you options within the address book. So if we used Joe Blogs, if you started writing Joe, it would start to give you options of all staff members with Joe in their name, and then you can pick one that you need to send it to. You can also send here to all groups. So if you wanted to send it to all Summerhill staff, you'd start writing all, and it would come up with different options to send that to as well. The large red box at the bottom here is very similar to Word. So it just gives you a few options of how to edit and make a bit more engaging the content within your email. So you've got simple things like bolding the font to make it bigger, italics, underlining. You can highlight something with a different color, change your type of text and the size. You can even hyperlink a website or something that's online using this hyperlink tool icon there. So just basically engaging a bit more with people that are receiving your email. Once you're happy with your email, you can click send, and then that will send that to whoever you've got in your address book to send it to. Just one point on this, general rule of thumb is that you'll send an email, so you'll send it to anybody that you expect some kind of a reaction, some response, or something that you're requesting. The CC, which stands for carbon copy, basically that's people that you are sending it to just for reference. So maybe not necessarily you want something directly from them, it's just some information which is probably relevant to them in their job role, and it's just for them to know what's being said. Last point on the inbox is any email that you haven't read will be bold to start with, and then once you've clicked to read, that will then turn a normal color, so you can see which are new emails into your inbox as well. So when you click on a new email, so I've just clicked on this one here, which is an example email, whatever the content of that email is will feature here. You can then there's a little thumb icon, so you can like somebody's email without having to send a response. You can also reply or forward. So the single arrow going backwards is to reply to that one person that sent it. The two arrows pointing left is to reply to everybody within the thread, or the forward arrow pointing right, that means you could forward that on to somebody else if they're not currently included in the email. So you've also got, when you hover over a particular email, so we've zoomed in to the inbox slightly here. So on this email, you'll see that there are some different icons within each email heading. So you've got who it's from and the title, but these are of interest here, highlighted in red. So first one, obviously a rubbish bin, you can delete that easily. This envelope, at the moment, it's open. If you clicked it again, it will close this envelope and make this email look as if it's been unread again. So if you wanted to draw your own attention to it again, you could put it as unread. Another useful tool is this flagging option here. So if you click that, that little flag would turn red, and that might be something that you just want to flag so you can get easy access to it or draw attention to it quickly in future. And the last one, another useful one, if you've got emails that are login details or information which you might need in future, is this little pin. If you click pin, it will keep this email at the top of your inbox here, whereas all of the other emails that you receive will carry on going down. This one will stay at the top, again, for easy access. So in terms of organising your emails, you can create new folders and name them whatever works for you. So an example that I've done here is I've clicked on new, and I've called something an example folder. So once I've created a new folder and called it a name, in this case example folder, it will then populate within your folder structure here. So you could have anything you wanted in terms of folder names. It could be that you work with children of SEND background, so you might want to put it in a SEND folder. It could be an after school meeting that you want to keep notes about. It could be a particular group or staff group that you work with, which you keep all the correspondence in one file. But it's just a really good way of keeping your folders nice and organised, so you don't have to sift through countless emails in your inbox. They're actually organised in specific folders. So this is just going through how you can move these emails to particular folders. So you right click on the email you want to move across, or click on move. That then brings up a secondary menu, and you can choose whichever folder you want to put this in here. So you can see that the example folder which I created previously is there. I click on that folder, and this email will then be stored on the left in an example folder here. Last little way of organising and categorising your emails. If you right click on a particular email, you can go down to categorise and actually colour code. You can create different colours and actually change the name of the category rather than just being a colour also. So if you're responsible for an after school club, you might want to change one, call it after school club, and make it a bright green colour or a bright pink, anything you want. And then that will also appear on the left hand side, so you can organise your emails into categories as well. So this is just an example here where we've highlighted it into green, and it's showing that when it's in your inbox, it's actually categorised and you can see it easily from your inbox as well. Next thing then is calendar. So first thing to notice about your calendar is that you can change the view of what you want on there. So you could have view by week, by day, by month. I tend to have it by week, just so that I can see what's coming up in subsequent days. But if you've got a busy day, you can actually hone in specifically on that window of time and look at particular meetings or events that you've got organised there. If you wanted to create a calendar, an appointment, or something like in your diary, all you do is just click on a particular time. So if you wanted, for this example, it would be on Wednesday, the 17th of June at 10 o'clock. You click on that little section on the screen and it creates this window here. So you could change the name of the event that you've got on there, the duration, when you start and when you finish. You can toggle the date, so it could change. You might want to put it across a number of days and then click save. You could also add people in there, so invite required attendees. If you've got some colleagues that you wish to attend to this meeting, you just simply write your name or their name in there like you would sending them an email, and it will then send them a prompt to their email and their calendar to say that they're invited to this meeting. So as you can see, the example I've done here, we've clicked OK, and it's created this example calendar appointment on there as well. Next one is SharePoint. So this is a useful tool for almost like a centralized point of key documents and key notices for staff. So when you log in or when you click SharePoint, frequent sites that you've been to previously will start to be populated here. So I've been accessing these different ones at different points, and so they're already populated here. But if they're not, you can simply search for Summerhill Academy 2019-20, for example. It could be Jubilee, it could be another SharePoint. When you search in there, it will give you options, and you could find these if you've not been to them before. There's also a little feature here which I've highlighted. So these stars, if you click the star, that creates a bookmark and it says that you're following them. So these will automatically appear here and on the left-hand side for easy future access as well. These are examples of Summerhill's SharePoint and Jubilee. Very similar in terms of how they're organised, just for consistency. And just to draw attention to some of the features on SharePoint. So all of these buttons along the top here, if you click on them, they'll take you to those specific areas. So if it's a curriculum-based thing, you want to find some planning, then you click on curriculum. Map planning is collaborative between Summerhill and Jubilee Park. This is where teams across both schools have done some joint planning and resources, and they will be centralised within this folder here. Staff documents, these are anything that's relevant. It could be a phone directory, so you know what different extensions people are on. It could be rotas, anything like that would go into staff documents. We've got policies. If you wanted to make reference to a particular policy for the school, then they're all archived in here for future access for you. We've also got room bookings. So if you wanted to book a hall or one of the rooms that are available for booking for meetings, you can click on this calendar option here. And on the left-hand side there, we've got notices. So if you didn't want to send an email to all staff, you could, another option is create an announcement here. So it could be to say that we've got some cakes for a coffee and cake morning for everybody involved. It's for charity, and you might want to put that on there to draw everyone's attention to it. We've also got some more tickets at the bottom. These are more for support resources within the school. So IT support help desk, that will help you get IT support should you need it. Site manager, this is where you can log any issues that you identify in terms of health and safety issues. If there's something that's damaged or broken, you can draw attention to the site team, and they'll then be able to identify this and start to plan to put that right if there's any issues. Resource and admin requests are for letters or photocopying, laminate documents, stuff like that that you need for teaching or for resources within your delivery. And then the last point on the right hand side, there's just some buttons here, some logos. If you click on them, they'll take them to those actual websites for quick access as well. Microsoft Teams. So the COVID-19 lockdowns have almost forced people to be a little bit more dynamic with how they're interacting with people. Less face-to-face meetings and more remote support, which hopefully is making people work more streamlined and will help generally with their well-being. So we're starting to use Microsoft Teams a lot more now. And this is a great way of people, it could be all over the world, it could be different parts of the school, but we can all join in an online conference call without being all in the same room, which is great. So when you click on Teams, your opening screen will be this here. So not much to show really, you've just got some icons on the left hand side, which we'll discuss further in a moment. And then any team that you're part of will be displayed on the left hand side here under Teams. So an example of these would be here. So if you're a member of the All Summer Hill staff or Jubilee or Little Treasures, which is our early years provision, they will be shown here. You've also got a calendar function, and this is probably the one that you're going to use the most. So on your calendar, if you're invited to a Teams call, Teams conference meeting, if you click on calendar, it will then show you the meetings that we. So example one that we've created here is an example team call. If you click on the call, it will then open this up and give you an option to say join on the top right hand corner of your screen. If you click join, it will then take you to the live call. So you'll click join now, you'll join whoever's on here. It might be a one-to-one meeting. It could be that there's 50 people in this meeting. We have, for whole staff training, had over 90 on a call. So there's no kind of limit to how many people can join the call. So once you click join, you can toggle your speaker and your camera. So if you've got a camera on your monitor, if you click that across to go purple, it will show and reveal you. So a bit more personable if you've got that option where people can see who they're talking to. And also you can toggle the Microsoft option here, sorry, the microphone option here. This will basically mute you unless it's on, which is useful. If everyone's talking, it's very difficult, there's a lot of background noise. But if you mute yourself until you want to make a comment, that just basically stops any white noise interfering with everybody else's speakers and being able to hear and have clarity on what's being said. So OneDrive, really useful tool that's part of Office 365 because it lets you save documents in the cloud, so therefore up in cyberspace. It doesn't restrict you that it's on one particular desktop computer or a laptop. It's anywhere. So as long as you log into Office 365, you log into your OneDrive at the same time. That means that you can access the same document that you accessed in one particular location. You can access it anywhere else. So it could be on a laptop, it could be a desktop computer, even your mobile phone. So in terms of your flexibility that OneDrive provides, it's really useful. It also allows you to share easily the document with other people, to collaborate and edit that document together. So any edit is kind of saved and it's live. So it could be that me and a colleague are working on that. They can say, look, I've made these alterations. They don't have to then send me a new version of that document. It's the same one that I have on my OneDrive, but it's the latest and the most recent additions or alterations that have been made to it. So when you log into OneDrive, your screen will appear as so on here. All your files that you create, there's obviously none here because this is a test profile, but any files that you have already created will be populated here. And so it's, again, easy access, and you can edit and toggle if you want to go to one modified recently. All the latest documents that you've been working on will be at the top. Different features then. Firstly, if you click on New, you can create folders. So again, organization, you might want subfolders in here to organize some of your documents, but also going to New will allow you to create any of these different types of documents. So Word for written, Excel for kind of mathematical graphs, surveys, analytics, that kind of stuff, PowerPoints, etc. So any document that you want to create new, you'll just go up to here and automatically it will save again in your OneDrive profile. You can also, so a file that's saved to your computer, or even if you're working off your phone, you can upload files onto OneDrive from the location you're at. It could be a historical document which you want to then put onto OneDrive to centralize and make it easier access in the future. Last points here are that you've got recent documents and also documents that have been shared by other colleagues with you. So if somebody sent you that document, you can click on share and you'll be able to find that, and that will be displayed on the screen as well. One really important feature which we've had a lot of questions and queries, and people that are a little bit concerned at the time was that they've lost a document. So another nice feature of OneDrive is file recovery. So if there's a file or a version that you've lost, or that it may be that you've edited something and actually you've edited it wrong, or you wanted to go back to what it was originally, you can easily do that by right-clicking on whichever document you want to go back to. That will then reveal this option here. If you go to version history, that then will show you all of the different times and the dates of when that document has been changed. So it may be that I want to go back to version 37, and I know that on June the 5th I made alterations, but I want to go back to that one. So if you clicked on that date, it then reveals these three little buttons here, or three little dots. Click on that one and then open file. That will then recover that document back to that point in time. So if you've ever made an alteration to a document and you didn't want to, you can go back in time, because these are kind of recorded as every time a modification is made. So a quick summary of Office 365. Generally speaking, you're going to be using email, calendar, SharePoint, Teams for conference calls, and really useful one is the OneDrive function. So IT support. We've got a ticketing system for any IT related issues. So all you need to do is send an email to support@summerpark.co.uk. That then gives you an opportunity to outline what any issues are around an IT related problem. You could even take screenshots or upload a document which is causing issues. That then creates a ticket within the IT support dashboard. The IT technicians then will work through and try and find a resolution for you within 48 working hours. The ticketing system firstly allows you to log an issue, so it brings it to the attention of the IT team. It then allows for progress updates to be sent to you, and correspondence back and forth like an email thread to update you on where we are with the expected time of completion, any snags that we found, anything that might push back the completion date, basically trying to keep you as informed as possible. Once the resolution is found, a completion notice is then sent to you, which will then automatically send you then a feedback survey. So this is very similar to the RAG colours, red, amber, green, and it will give you three different faces of a happy face, a kind of mediocre face, and a sad face. Anything that you can provide in terms of feedback with those surveys really helps to support the IT team with identifying any snags that we've created, any issues that we need to resolve, and just generally helping us to provide better customer support. Printing, even though we are moving in a technological age, printing will always still need to be a factor within the school site in terms of resources in the classroom or out on the walls, displays, etc. So when you go to print, you'll click print on the document on the left hand side. It will then give you an option to click print this document. You will then be provided with different options automatically with different printers. So in terms of printers that you will choose, the Toshiba ones which are listed here, these are ones that are in the staff, the front offices in either site at Summerhill. So they're ones that are for more batch printed documents. The ones for staff to print individually, anything that you want to print yourself and release, you've got colour and mono. So mono is obviously grayscale, it's black and white. Colour is any colour that you print. There is a consideration there about the cost of the printing. So anything that is printed in colour obviously costs more than it does in black and white. So you'll be given a release code to print these documents for security, and that will be a 6-digit print code that's specific to you as an individual. You'll be given a set allowance to use for a day and a week, and obviously if you use that, we can extend that if it's for a valid reason, but we do obviously want to try and reduce the amount of wasted printing and paper by setting this allowance. And also in terms of that monetary allowance that you're given, printing in mono is 1p a sheet and printing colour documents is 5p. Just a few tips on security which hopefully will help you not just within your schoolwork and professional, but also maybe at home using technology at home as well. So first thing to identify is passphrases. You'll be given a generic password when you first have an account, but then you're required to change that to something specific to you to make it specific that no one else will know. And the general rule is that people are now moving away from passwords to passphrases because these are harder and more difficult to hack, but at the same time easy to remember. So we've got some examples here on the right hand side of some passwords, which this bottom one in particular, it's very strong in the fact that it's got capital letters, lowercase, it's got numbers and symbols. That's great, but it's very difficult to remember that. So a passphrase is easier to do because it could be a phrase which is specific to you. It could be a song lyric, it could be a person or a place, or combine that together, something that's special to you or something that you find easy to remember. That's much more secure than just a generic passphrase, passcode, sorry. In terms of security as well, an added level of security for us as a school is that your password will expire between 6 to 10 weeks in duration. So that's an automatic thing that we've built in, and all it does is it requires you to change your password from what it was to something different, just to keep that extra level of security so that it's less guessable. It's not been the same for the last 3 years, and therefore someone may find it easier to access your password. Another level of security is in terms of print release. So once you've sent something to print, it won't actually come through the printer until you release using your 6-digit print code. And that's really important if it's, for a safeguarding perspective, if there's some sensitive information being released, what you don't want is that just to be kind of released at the printer, you get mislaid and not go and pick that up straight away. The next user to that printer would then see your paperwork and obviously then have access to anything that's on that printed document. So it won't print and it won't release until you put that 6-digit PIN code in when you're stood at the printer, which is really important in terms of data protection. Locking your screen is also important. So whenever you leave a room, it could be an office, it could be a classroom, but whenever you leave, it is strongly advised that you lock your computer. So the way you do that, at the bottom of your screen, you'll see a little logo with kind of a human shoulders and a head. If you click on that icon, that brings up this window here. If you then click on tasks, it gives you this list of options. So by locking your computer, you lock that. So the next time you use it, you'll have to put in your individual and personalized password again. So nobody can use that computer and no one can access the work and your emails and OneDrive because it's locked. You can log off, which will completely log you off the network, but obviously that means you need to log back on again to access work, emails, etc. The option here to change your password, so you will get a prompt when you log into the network between 6 to 10 weeks, but if you wanted to change that in a different time scale, you can do that as well by using that change my password feature. And another little feature which is really useful for teachers is presenter mode. So rather than your visualizer or your display screen in your classroom keep locking and you keep having to put your password in halfway through a class discussion or something that's going to break the continuity of your teaching, you could click presenter mode. That then means that your screen does not lock. There's no time frame on it from locking for security. But again, that makes you very exposed in terms of if you leave your classroom at break time, your screen and your emails and all your personal information and data is going to be accessible unless you then take it off presenter mode. So very useful in terms of helping continuity and delivery within a classroom, but it obviously leaves you very wide open there for data protection and security. So that presenter mode, use it if it's going to be useful for you delivering in front of children or during a training session, but also think about making sure you turn that off if you're to leave the venue. Just finally, just drawing your attention to the school websites. So both schools have got very similar templates in terms of their school and the kind of the design and the profile that we've created. Search for Jubilee Park Academy and search Summerhill Primary Academy via Google or any search engine will bring up the school websites. And also got one for the map. So this one's a little bit more of a corporate feel. but this is kind of signposting schools and other corporate focused businesses to us as a multi-academy trust. And then from here, you can then click to the schools that are within our mat. So last point, just to kind of just finish on here, is a little quote. So success is the sum of small efforts repeated. And for some people, IT and technology is a real challenge, and they clam up in many ways. They don't like to kind of get on with it. The COVID-19 school closures and lockdowns have kind of forced that a little bit through some of the training we've had to do online and the conference calls we've done. So hopefully that's kind of changing people's mindsets with it. But just think, if it's difficult, you've got this guidance document here, you've got other people within the school that will help you and support you and train you and upskill you. Everybody's got to start somewhere. So the analogy of riding a bike, you're going to fall off at some point, you're going to be wobbly to start, but the more you do it, the more habitual it becomes, the easier it is. So take it on board, embrace it. It's not going to be easy. Some people find IT challenging, and I totally understand, but we've got to kind of move forward, and we've got to move with the times and make ourselves kind of more computer literate. And hopefully that's what this resource will provide. So you can go back, you can go all the way through this video to go back to some support. If there's an area that you want some more support, this resource allows you to keep going back to that same thing, keep listening and understanding about the direction and the instructions, and hopefully that will provide CPD to help you move forward and become more comfortable using IT. So bear that in mind, get through the tough bit and you'll find it easier. And then from a well-being perspective, it will start to become a habit, easy to do, and it's much better for you. You're in a better place. So stick with it. If technology is not something you really enjoy, get through it. This guidance and other people will help you through it, and it will become easier the more you do it. Okay, thank you.